Fortunately, just 5 Wesleyan athletic teams in action this past week. We'll go with men's and women's cross country first. Running JV squads in the ECAC Championship hosted by Williams. Wesleyan had a full squad on the women's side. Veronica Alvarado, sophomore, led the way, 44th out of 287, and the Cardinals took 11th overall as a team. They were actually one of the lower finishing NESCAC squads, all using JV's teams, but still good performance for 11th out of 41. Just one man running for the men. That was Evan Bider, who took 58th out of 284. So good run for the sophomore there. Moving on to women's soccer, a great performance against Williams in the NESCAC semifinals, dropping a 2-1 decision, getting a goal in the 19th minute from a senior, Kaylin Berger. Great assist by Laura Karash to set it up. Great left-footed shot from about 18 yards out, buried into the upper right corner. But Williams came back with a pair of goals, and the Cardinals were eliminated. But just a great job by Wesleyan to show that the win at Middlebury was not a fluke, that they had arrived and did a great job. Men's soccer, losing 1-0 to Amherst in the NESCAC semifinals, did not deter them from getting an NCAA bid, and we'll be talking about that in more detail in just a moment.
Yeah, Brian, as you said, today was a bit of a nice, pleasant surprise for our men's team. Ended up losing in their semifinal match, but I got some good news this afternoon. Tell us about that, and it's quite the appearances in the last few years for them in the next.
It is. It's the 5th qualifying for NCAAs by men's soccer in the last 8 years. First happening in 2005 with that surprising rise from the 7th seed to beat Bowdoin, then Amherst, then Bowdoin, then Williams, then Amherst in the NESCAC championship to earn an automatic bid. They followed up with a qualifying in 2006, went in 2009, and again last year. So this 5 out of 8 that we're talking building a dynasty here, one of the most consistent NCAA appearance teams, perhaps along with men's lacrosse. Was it a bit of a surprise? Perhaps. The team was 9-4-3, not an overwhelming record, but 3 of the 4 losses were to other NCAA qualifiers, Tufts, Amherst, and Eastern Connecticut, which won the Little East. So Wesleyan represented itself quite well, also tying Amherst, who was the number 2 seed in the country. They got one of the 2 byes, along with longtime national power Messiah, and also a tie against Williams during the regular season. So Wesleyan had a great accounting of itself during the year. Perhaps a couple of contests that didn't go according to plan, losing to Conn College by a goal, tying Framingham State. But still, Wesleyan showed it was one of the best teams in the country. And they went 4 deep into the NESCAC, which makes sense. They did the same with women's soccer, and they went 3 deep in field hockey. So NESCAC gets a lot of credibility, even 3 volleyball teams qualifying for the NCAAs this year, which doesn't normally happen for the NESCAC. I think it was deserved. I was optimistic. I know Coach Wheeler was thinking it wasn't going to happen. I got an email this morning from the people that put the program together for the NCAA, and I was encouraged by the fact that they were asking for our information to be looked over and proofed and gotten back to them by that afternoon. And it didn't say, if your team qualifies, get back to us. It said, we need this back in the afternoon. So I think someone let the cat out of the bag. I inquired, said, is this telling me something? And the guy tried to play it down, but I think he knew he had let me know something I really was happy to hear.
Yeah, and they're going to be playing this weekend on the road in Pennsylvania. Tell us about that matchup.
Well, they're going against Haverford College, which rose up from the 3 seed and won the Centennial Conference, which is kind of good for Wesleyan. Its first appearance, they played Muhlenberg, who was the Centennial Conference champion at Muhlenberg, and beat them 3-2 in overtime. So good success there. We've never played Haverford in men's soccer, surprisingly, over as many years as the teams have been playing. So a good matchup against a decent squad. They're 12-7 overall. They were 10-7 during the regular season, and then beat Swarthmore and Dickinson in the Centennial semifinal and final. Actually, Dickinson first, then Swarthmore, who were the 1 and 2 seeds. So I guess it can happen in other conferences too, that it doesn't always turn out to be the top seed, and Dickinson and Swarthmore both got at-large bids as well to the NCAA, so Centennial went 3 deep. I don't know a great deal about them as a whole. I've looked at some of their results today. They are a credible team. They beat Dickinson 3-0 during the regular season, and Dickinson was one of the top 2 seeds in the conference, and only lost, I think, 2 games in conference play. We'll have our hands full, I'm sure, but I think the team will go in confidently. We're 4-0 in first-round NCAA tournament games, winning twice at home and twice on the road. So it's that stigma of getting past that second round. We're 0-3-1 in second round games, getting by Western New England at home in 2009 to at least get to the third round, winning on penalty kicks. And other than that, we have not gotten past. We've lost to Messiah in overtime, Rochester in overtime, and Montclair State 1-0. So this is a proving ground for this team. It's a very solid team, and when they're on their game, they're as good as any team in the country. They're just going to have to put a string together here as the playoffs get underway.